I'm going to speak to you on today about something great and something so awesome. The Holy Spirit God rose me this morning about 2 o'clock and just laid on my heart. We're going to come from an area that is a very familiar place in Genesis, the 39th chapter. I'm sure you've been down this path many times and you're going to go down it again today. But we thank God for His love and how He just truly shows us something new each and every time we enter His Word. Amen. And so we just love Him for His compassion for us and all that He do for us. And I just don't understand why anybody just don't want to serve Him and give them all of themselves to Him. And Minister, amen, Whittington was saying it's time now to stop playing church. Amen. And it's time to get serious about God and who He is. Amen. You don't want to be that one that just when it all boils down and God comes back and you stand before Him on judgment and all the things that you did was just a waste of time. Amen. But how many know God got some great things in store for you? And if you do what God has for you to do, amen, if you just really truly do something for Him, He'll do many things for you. Isn't that awesome? And so today, amen, our thought for today is going to be the reward of faithfulness. Amen. Amen. And how many know God needs some faithful people on today? If you're faithful in the house, and don't lie, but just say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen. We don't want to go to line in the church on today. Amen. Just look at somebody beside you. Just tell them this. Tell them, neighbor, there is power in faithfulness. Do y'all believe that? I'm seeing today like never before. I just been, seeing how we're just so unfaithful in a lot of things in life. Just in the natural things in life, we're not as faithful as we need to be. Amen. And right now, I'm so thankful to God how God said, if you really begin to be faithful unto Him, how many know He will prove Himself, which He has already had, but He will really prove Himself faithful unto you. Amen. And there is great rewards in it because it's something about regardless of what I'm going through, you know what? We got to make sure that we stand the test and make sure that we stay with God because He knows what He is doing. Amen. Amen. And God is a God that He will not change. Amen. And so as I begin to go into this area and as God began to give me this, He talked about faithfulness. And faithfulness is one thing to be constant in your devotion, and not only just to be constant in your devotion, but also it's to be loyal as well. And how many know we need some loyal people on today? Amen. Are you loyal? Can someone depend on you? Or when the going gets tough, you get going? And that's something. There's some people in your life, and I know that they'll hang around with you, but when things get tough, I know they will go. But I know a God that He is always there for you, and He will never leave you nor forsake you. Amen. So why forsake Him? As God, as we learn to realize that we need to be faithful to God, God will be faithful to us. Amen. And so reading this story, you all know the story about Joseph and the situation that he was in. And how many know we can get in some terrible situations? Amen. How many know that as I've been telling you for the past few weeks that there are some bad things that can happen to good people? Or let me change this to those that think they're good, because a lot of us think we're good, but we're not good. Amen. Ask somebody, are you good? I guarantee you they say, yeah. I'm good. But how many know we understand today that some people think that, but Joseph was put in a situation, and I'm so thankful of his attitude and the patience that he had. And one thing about it, he really didn't give up on God. So we know how the story goes, but I'm finding out today, when we know that these things exist in the Bible, but when tragedies or trials come into our lives, that we forget all about it. And we begin to tell God, well, my situation is different. Well, what I'm going through is different from what that person is going through. But how many know still, regardless, at the end of your trial or during your trial, you still got to remain the way that God said you got to remain, and that's faithful unto Him. Amen. Point to somebody and say, you got to be faithful. And by being faithful unto God, there are rewards in that. God will reward you. He will come in, amen, and do some tremendous things in your life. So, things are so big that you can't even wrap your mind around it. You can't even comprehend it. I've been on some big things. I don't settle for anything little. My wife told me the other day, said, you know, when you do something, you got to do it big. But, you know, I begin to think about that and I say, but when it comes to God, do I do things big like that? So, you know, when it comes to God, I mean, we want to make sure that we do things big. Amen. And so Joseph was this way, and all the things that he went through, and just the heartache and the pain and dealing with his family. How many know family can just really take you through some things? And he went through these things with his family, and out of the situation, and we're coming right into this 39th verse because it comes right after the area that he was sold into slavery, but not just by anybody. He was sold into slavery by his brothers. Amen. And how many know your very brothers, your very family can cause you harm? Amen. Come against you or cause things to happen, and it did, but it was something very special about Joseph. And as I often read this, you know, I often question myself, well, Lord, is this me? How do I handle situations? Do I handle it this way, or do I do like most do? Do I tuck my tail and do I run, or do I complain? Or do I allow this area to change my attitude, where I begin to change in ways and I mistreat people, but do I have this attitude like Joseph? So, as he went through so much, he began to venture into another area. But I'm here to tell you on today, if you really want to see God move in your life, stay faithful. Amen. And I'm finding that out today. We're not as faithful as we need to be. This is the time to make sure that we practice on being faithful to God. Look at this country that this country, this world that we live in, all that is going on around us, the thoughts, you know, the way that people begin to think on things, and how the actions after they act on it. You need to remain faithful. We need God. Amen. There's no telling. We can leave this place today. There's no telling what will happen because of the action of a man or a woman. We live in terrible times. People will rob you or take from you, and not only just take from you, but take your life because of something they desire. How many know we need to remain faithful unto God? Amen. And as being a pastor, I see this where we're not as faithful as we need be. And we need to get back to that. Look at somebody and say, get back to that. Just talking to this morning, how we need to make sure that we don't get complacent and that we stand up. And if we're not where we used to be when we was running and on fire for God, get back there. Don't take him for granted. Oh, well, Lord, it's me. I've been here 20 years, so you know me. Just by God knowing you won't get you nowhere. Amen. You need to put some works in it. Amen. Faith without works is dead. So the word began to start out in this other situation that he went through. In the 39th verse, we're going to look at it right now. I know you're familiar with it, but let's see what it says today. God want to come in another way about this. Amen. It says, now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Everybody say Egypt. Egypt. Now for the Hebrews, Egypt was considered to be a bad place. Amen. And just to know that how God brought them out of Egypt, but yet to know that I'm going back to a place that just really is truly a sinful place. But not only that he was taken and then he was placed into slavery, amen, and taken, but he was taken to Potiphar. The Bible says an officer of Pharaoh, a captain of the guards. Now, the Bible says he was an officer of Pharaoh, but he was a captain of the guard. It wasn't the fact that he was taken to Egypt, but he was taken to the captain of the guards. See, Potiphar was Pharaoh's personal bodyguard. He was, he was over his Pharaoh's personal bodyguard. So this was a man that was considered not to be one that had compassion. Dealing with people that don't have compassion, they're hard to deal with. But it said they brought him to him, the captain of the guards in Egypt, and it says they brought him bought him from the Ishmaelites. Isn't that something? But I want to let you know this, regardless of what he went through in dealing with his brothers, now he's brought into Egypt. Now he's with one of the men that's considered to be a mean and violent man because he had to protect Pharaoh. But it was something that he was now bought. So when he was bought, it was a reality then. That now I belong to this man. And I know that sometimes when we're going through situation, it doesn't become a reality until we enter exactly into it. But I know still you got to maintain an attitude, the proper attitude. Amen. And so how many know, regardless of what your situation may be or what you may be dealing with and how bad the situation is, you always must remember that God has a plan for me. Amen. It may be your child may be sick. It may be that you're now at the area that you may be lying there and the doctor's telling you, look, you're going to die, within a few weeks or so. But I know that you always got to remember that God got a plan. And I can imagine in his mind, he was still thinking because he was just a child, but he had great faith. And so as they bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down, the word says that the Lord was with Joseph. Started making me think now. I always understood about the tragedies and his situation, but that's what we want to focus on right now. Because the Bible right there clarifies to say that the Lord was with Joseph, but why was God with Joseph? Being the child that he was and going through the situation, it didn't say much about him, and it talked about how his father, amen, Jacob, loved him so much. But who was he? And so God began to relate that to me. It says, now, if God was with him, and if the Lord was with Joseph, so that only means one thing, that Joseph was with him. And so in order for God to be with you, you got to be with him. And so that means that he was faithful unto God. Because regardless of what this situation would be, imagine when they were saying, well now, he had been sold. So he was still saying in his head, well, you know what? Well, Lord, regardless of what, I'm still with you. How do we handle a situation? Do we go into it that way where when things happen and we get, some bad news or a tragedy is in our life, do we look up towards him and say, well, Lord, I trust you? That's what faithful people do. Look at somebody and say, that's what faithful people do. See, remember, faithfulness means to be constant, constant in your devotion. It means to be loyal. And so the Bible said that the Lord was with Joseph, meaning that Joseph was with him, and it says, and he was a successful man. Isn't that something? He was a successful man. And so it seems like to be placed in a bad situation, still that God looked at him as being something great and still blessed him. How many know regardless of what you're going through, God still will make you successful in the outcome? Most of the time it comes through faith or just believing it. Look at somebody and say, I'm successful. See, you don't even say it like you mean it. That's how I know what we're going through. Because we get to talking to folks, we just, how many know you got to make it, one thing about it, you got to say it like you really, truly believe it. Look at somebody and say, I'm successful. I'm successful. Now we'll tell somebody we look pretty, much better than that. I look good. Somebody saying, you need to rethink that outfit. No, I look good. Isn't that something? Put more confidence in how we look. But it was saying, regardless of what he was going through, God still made him prosperous. It says, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Y'all remember? This was a tough, mighty man of war. He was there, and only the best would protect Pharaoh. Pharaoh wasn't finna put no anybody to protect him. He needed some protection. You know how he was. And so yet being placed in his master, the Egyptian, it says, and his master saw that the Lord was with him. Isn't that something? That's why we got to make sure that we stay the course. And lots of times we're complaining about, oh, this job and all these people on this job. Who is your God? God took a boy out of a pit. He was sold into slavery, bought by a violent man. But God changed his heart. He began to look at him. Began to look at him and say, who is this Hebrew? And it said his master saw that the Lord was with him. And that the Lord made all that he did, regardless of how he treated him. Because you remember now, he had to build a relationship with this man. And so at first, he treated him just like a slave. Get over there. Do this, boy. I don't want this. And so he was treated harsh. But it says it's something about the God that was in him touched the heart that was in this Egyptian. And I know things had to happen then. I know when you're going through your situation, allow the God in you to touch the heart that is in that next person. And how many know it'll change it? Amen. You can't allow your flesh to rise up, because it's not going to do anything. Amen. We'll get you longer hours and less pay. But it says something happened here, and as God began to work in it, he saw how God was with him in that. Everything that he made everything prosper. He had success in everything, his hand touched. It said, so Joseph began to find favor. He said, you know what? Something got to be special about this person. And I often say on the job, how many know that it shouldn't be that people love to see us leave and hate to see us coming? Actually, really, I think I said this one time. Actually, really, they should be. I want to know who your pastor is, so I can call him and tell him to send some more people like you. So I ain't get too many people to say that, because you know what you've been doing on the job, right? Complaining, talking about this and talking about that. And this why something great happened after this. It says, so the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his sight. Now you're talking about this man and who he was, Pharaoh's bodyguard. He was the head of all the bodyguards. It says, but he found favor in the sight and served him. It says, then he made him overseer of his house. Y'all talking about a promotion now. How many are looking for a promotion right now? Amen. Let me say it one more time. How many of you are looking for a promotion right now? Amen. But see, look, God did this promotion. I'm here to let you know, if you want a promotion on your job, God is the only one that's going to give it to you. Reminder of the Bible let us know it doesn't come from the east. Don't come from the west. It don't even come from the south. But it said, but it comes from God, because he is the one that judges. He is the one that he put his one down, and he'll set the other one up. So while people talking and complaining or saying what's not going to happen and how it's been around here for 30 years and it's not going to happen, you got to trust in the word of the Lord. Amen? Don't come from the east. Don't come from the west. It won't even come from the south. But see, God will pull somebody down and he'll set me up. Let me ask you again, how many want a promotion? But remember this, on today, the Lord was with Joseph. But Joseph was with the Lord. In order for God to be with you in that way, you you got to be faithful to him. Amen. Look at somebody and say, be faithful. Be faithful. I'm not talking about that once or so often church. Remember this, you automatically out that way. You here today, gone tomorrow. When you're feeling good. See, that won't get you the promotion, amen. That won't get you what you need, amen. That won't get this favor on your life. You got to be faithful. Look at somebody and say, you got to be faithful. You got to be faithful. We faithful in everything else we do. Guarantee you we faithful in putting some food in this belly. We're going to feed this belly today, right? Every time, Pastor, you got to get on that. You always got to talk about somebody's belly. Won't you leave the belly out of it? Because at today's time I see that has begun to be our God. If we could serve God the way we serve ourselves food, come on now, that's right. Y'all imagine how we'll be. We'll be walking around here and just a glow will be on us. People that actually see the anointed glow on you. I knew I was going to make you quiet for a few minutes. I'm going to get you back. I'm going to win you back. Like I told y'all about my wife, I say I can lose her, but I can win her back. Back. All I got to do is say, come on. But it says in this promotion came and God made him overseer of the house. He blessed him in all his business. Isn't that something? Yeah. All his dealing, he said, all that he had, he put under his authority. So that means he was in charge. See, sometimes we have, you know, we look at God as being small. But how many know God is truly, he's big. And he's bigger in any situation. But all God is wanting, he wants you to be with him. And remain faithful. And so as he put him in this and put everything under him, he was large and he was in charge. It said, so it was from the time that he had made him overseer of his house and all that he had that the Lord blessed the Egyptian house for Joseph's sake. Isn't that something? God will come in and bless others because of you. You got to be close to God then. Well, God said, now I'm going to bless you, but everybody around you, they're going to be blessed because of you. That's when it's truly a blessing, isn't it? That's when everybody be saying, I guarantee you, if people knew you was like that and it was happening that way, I guarantee you, you couldn't get no space in church. They'd be right up under you. It says, and the blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in the house. Amen. And that's something how even his household affairs, they begin to run smoothly. His crop and his livestock, it began to flourish because of Joseph's faithfulness. It says, thus, he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. He said, he left so much in Joseph's hand that he did not know what he had. Except for the bread which he ate. The only thing he knew what he had is what he put in his hand for that day. Yeah. He was eating bread, but he didn't know if he had bread for tomorrow. But Joseph did. That means that he didn't have no worry. Yeah. How many know he was living his life the way that we should be when it comes to God, with no worry, a worry-free life. Because, Lord, I'm going to eat this bread today, but in my covenant, this is the last piece, but I'm going to eat tomorrow. That's how he ate. He didn't worry about nothing. Except for whatever he put in his hand, what he grabbed today, he knew that he was going to have it tomorrow, what he eat. It says, now, Joseph, it says he was a handsome fellow. Now, this one, things turn, amen. This is when you consider yourself to say faithful. A lot of us say we are, but we're not. But we're going to get into that later. But when you're truly faithful to God, that's when it's going to be put to test. Amen. Now, it says, now Joseph was handsome in form and in his appearance. And that's something. It says, now, he was a well-looking guy. Amen. He looked good. But it says, not only that he looked good, amen, but he had a nice build on him. And you know, it's sad to say sometimes, but your good looks and your nice form, whether you know it or not, it can get you in trouble. Amen? Because that's how I got my wife. I may need y'all out of service. We'll see. But it says, and it came to pass because of this, that what he was blessed with. It says, after these things, now, remember now, the Lord was with him. And he was with God. It said, and it came to pass after all of this and walking through this house, overhead of all things, and not just all of that, he was in charge, but he was handsome and he was nicely built. It said, and it came to pass after these things was talking about all the blessings and how all the favor that was on his life. You know, they say that when things are going good for so long, you better look out. Because there's something coming around the corner. And there was something major coming around that corner. It says that his master's wife, everybody say the master's wife. The master's wife. Uh-oh, that's where the trouble began. It says she began to cast longing eyes on Joseph. Isn't that something? She began to cast these eyes that only a woman should give to her husband. Like I said again, like my wife gives to me. You want to show them how you give me those? I'm setting myself up. But she was giving her, you know, these eyes that only you should give. And I'm telling you, young ladies and older ladies, and because it's just not with the young ladies. It's the old ladies too. There are only certain looks that you should give to the opposite sex. And the looks that she was giving was the looks that you only should give to your husband. Amen? So, after she cast these longing eyes on Joseph, that wasn't enough. I imagine Joseph, when she was looking at him, he'll walk through the house and say, what? And keep on walking. This happened over a period of time. As he ignored it, she began to go further. And how many know that's one thing about the enemy? He just don't stop in one area of your life. And so while you saying, well, Lord, you know, I just got over this, then why this? Why not this? Because how many know that one thing about the enemy, he don't stop. Amen. He wants to set things up. So when he goes to one person here and tries to get something, you know, to install into your life, then and that person won't give in. He moves to another person. His whole mission is to what? Steal. That's his job. But he didn't stop there. He whispered in the ear to tell her, this is what you need to say. And she said, lie with me. For those that don't know, she said, saying, sleep with me. For those that don't know what that is, she was saying, have sex with me. It says that the moment in the 8th verse, I like this because this shows a sign of faithfulness. It says, but he refused. Now, this is something that so-called Christian that say they're a Christian, you know, hey, I'm a Christian, And, you know, and I love God and I trust God. But how about when somebody comes at you this way, how do you handle it? Shows if you're really a Christian. And most of them, when they're saying that, well, hey, baby, come on now. Come. I want you to be with me. You know, we begin to, you know, thinking, oh, you know, start blushing. You know, not go ahead and nip it. See, he nipped this thing in the bud. Amen. He didn't entertain that. He didn't, you know, he didn't take it back and, you know, return it with big, you know, flirting with her. Now I've seen this happen that, you know, those that say that they're a certain way, but when one person says something, they come back with something. Amen. Well, this, you know, it's all good fun. No, it's not good fun. That's a good setup. Amen. And I guarantee you the enemy knows what you're doing, and he's going to play with you and play with you and play with you. Amen. He's going to play with those thoughts through the day and those thoughts through the night. Until after a while, and then he's going to make sure that he whispers in that ear, and he's going to whisper in the other ear. He's going to say, go there, and he's going to tell that one to go here. And next thing you know, you're going to meet up. And how are you at the same place at the same time? Someone say that this must be the person for me. It's a setup, amen. It says, but he refused. He didn't play with it. He didn't flirt with it. And he said to his master's wife, he said his way, he said, look, everybody say, look. Look. You know, when you say look, amen, that shows in a way, look, now you get this in your head. When we tell somebody, you know, we'll say look, but when we say look, you need to understand what I'm about to say to you. He told her, look, now he was talking to his master's wife. But he says, my master does not know what is with me. Isn't that something? Yeah. He was saying in such a way, he said, he doesn't even give a second thought as what is going on with me while I'm in his house. He trusts me that much that even throughout the day, he don't even wonder. He said, what is Joseph doing? He's in my house and he's a Hebrew. What is he doing? He said, my master, he doesn't even think like that. He said, he don't even know what is with me in the house. He don't even know what I'm doing. He doesn't care. He says, and he has committed. He trusts me with all that he has to my hand. It's just like it's mine. Amen. It was like this. What he has, I have it. He says, there is no one greater in this house than I. Isn't that something? He was really telling even you too. But he says, nor have he kept back anything. But the only thing that he kept back is you. He said, because you are his wife. He said, how then can I do this great wickedness? How many people that they say they're faithful do you stand up and can you do this? How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Isn't that something? It says, and so it was as she spoke to Joseph day by day. It's like she didn't even hear what he was saying. I mean, no, I told you, he don't give up on you, do he? He's going to do whatever he can to get you. It's not you, oh, somebody says, oh, I'm just so beautiful and they want me. I look good, girl. I guess it's because of these hips. No, it's a setup. The devil don't care nothing about your hips. He wants that heart. And so it says, so it was that she spoke to Joseph day by day, trying to weigh him down. It says, but he did not heed to her to lie with her. Or he even didn't do this, as some of us that claim to be of God will do. It says, not only he heed to lie with her, but even to be with her, he didn't even be alone with her. That means that when she came in, he went out. Y'all see how we mess ourselves up sometimes? Oh, well, I'm going to go in, she in it, I can handle it. How many of them don't trust yourself? I told you that before. We put too much confidence in ourselves. You know what you were going in there before that. Because you was trying to please the heart. So he didn't even be alone. It says, but it happened about this time when Joseph went into the house to do his work. And see what happened? And none of the men of the house was inside. Uh-oh. See, that's how the enemy, the Bible, that's why it tells us to put on the whole armor of God. See, sometimes we feel like, well, it won't happen this way. How many know the enemy doesn't care anything about you? All he wants to do is destroy you. But God cares about you, and he told you in order to handle him, you need to make sure that you have on all your armor. So you'll be able to stand against him. And so in this area, something happened. It says that she caught him by his garment, saying, here it goes again, lie with me. And I can imagine she tried to say it in a seductive way. Lie with me, with a little blow to it. But how many know he didn't care about no blow? He didn't even care about the coat that he had on. Amen. It says, but he left his garment in her hand and fled and ran out. How many know you may be put in some situation, and the best thing that you may have to do is just run? Some people say, well, you know what? The reason why it happened is because this happened. But I'm here to let you know the reason why it happened because you just didn't run from it. Come here, baby. Let me holler at you. Let me. Come on over here. Come on. You better get to stepping. I guarantee they see you walking like this. Like you power walking. They say something wrong with that. Hurt. The Bible says he ran outside, and that's the best place to live. That's the best place to be right now, because it was getting heated up in there, right? Isn't that something? But how many know, regardless of that, that showed a sign? Some people say, well, he ran out, but that's something that really began to touch my heart because it showed a sign of true faithfulness. And even though Potiphar's wife, and I'm sure she was beautiful, because that's one thing about the king, he didn't fool around with nobody who wasn't beautiful, amen? We know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and he's going to make sure he gets somebody that's beholding that beauty. Amen? But, and I imagine it showed a great sign because, see, one thing about it, they were in the house alone. And so he could have said, amen, he could have said, well, no one will find out, because most of us that truly say we love God, but when we put in such a certain situation, we'll say, well, won't nobody know. Truly, he was put in a situation where maybe no one will find out. But how many know that's just an excuse to sin? And you can't use that excuse to sin, amen? How many know people will find out? Well, it was no way out of it, and I enter into it, and then she just grabbed me and pulled me down. Now, how a woman gonna grab you, a man, and pull you down? You was down because you wanted to be down, and didn't want to get up. Look at somebody and tell them today, tell them, neighbor. There is no excuse for you to sin. Amen? You believe that? 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, 13 verse says, the temptations in your life are no different from what others experience. You're not the only one. Just because you're going through, well, the reason why, it happened this way because, who have ever been put in a situation like that? Plenty have. And plenty didn't give in. But it says, and God is faithful. He will not allow the temptation to be more than you can stand. Or some say bear. But it says, when you are tempted, he will show you a way out so that you can endure. It's always a way out. Well, you know, it just happened. I slipped down and it happened. I mean, no, before you slip down, you got the warning sign to turn around. Some of us, you should have did like they do when a roadblock is up. You can see when a roadblock is up, you see, look down the line, you see cars bagging on up. Probably you was doing that, bagging on up and get on out of it. Gone. I've never seen so many cars that can, like, they can go in silent mode when the police is around. And some of them be so far, it's like they can smell a roadblock. They can just, it's like they were given a premonition of a roadblock. But they'll get out the way. But I mean, there's no excuse. Because God will make sure that you have a way out. Amen? There's no slip into it. It's nowhere, it just happened. That's the new thing of today's time. It just happened. No, it just happened because you wanted it to happen. You refuse to remain faithful. And God wants you to see this on today, because some of us use the things that we do to say, to cause that error, to say, well, that's the reason why I was unfaithful, because it happened this way. And how many know if God can do that same thing for Joseph, how many know he'll do it for you? If he make a way of escape out for him, he'll make a way out for you. You just got to want to be out. Amen. Getting in, want to stay in. That's why Jesus told his disciples this. He began that great sermon, and he told them one thing. He said, one thing that you all need to do, y'all need to go and pray. But one thing that you need to do, you need to pray so you won't give in to temptation. Lots of time why we give in to temptation, because we don't pray. That's not a thing that we wake up each and every day and say, well, Lord, this is a new day that you have created for me. Please, Lord, don't allow me to enter into temptation today. That's the reason why it happened. But regardless of how beautiful she was and how they were alone in the house, he remained faithful. Because remember, God was with him. And he was with God. Amen? Amen. Look at somebody on the day and ask them this question. Are you with God? Are you with God? And how many know it's going to show? You can't hide it. Amen? Amen. 13th verse says something great, and I'm like what it said, but how many know that shows a sign that we still got to remain? This first part, the 7th verse through the 12th verse, you just write this down, and so you'll have it for yourself. Tell yourself that you must remain faithful in temptation. Amen? That's what those few little verses tell you right there, that regardless of how you tempted, you still got to remain faithful. So when you read this will remind yourself that regardless of how much temptation come your way, Joseph made it out and he remained faithful unto God. And God continued to bless him. And lots of times we are wondering why one thing after the other, we're not prospering the way that we need to prosper, and why we're not receiving the favor the way that God said that we will receive the favor. Is that could be your area right there, that you do not remain faithful. Amen. 13th verse says this, and it says, and so it was that when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside. How many know things begin to happen right there? How many know your situation, you think when it's ugly, how many know it can get uglier than that? You can be going through something great, but how many know it can really get ugly? Because I can imagine during that time when she looked at that coat in her hand, she began to think of ways to get out of this situation, because she thought about it. If he run out, he can flee out of here and tell somebody what I did. So I can imagine then she began to fix her face, and being Egyptians, they did wear makeup back then, and so I can imagine she began to rub on her face and change her face and rough up her hair some, because she was getting ready to get things, and she began to get herself ugly to cause trouble. in his life. Isn't that something? Look at somebody and say, neighbor, things can get ugly to cause you some trouble. And look what happened after then. The 14th verse says that she called to the men of the house and spoke to them, saying, see. She had it together then. She had it together so much that she began to try to be, so convincing that she said, see, he has brought into us a Hebrew to mock us. She had got this thing down so good that not only that she was getting ready to blame Joseph for his situation, but she was blaming her husband too. Isn't that something? See, how many know the enemy don't care who he blames? Amen? Amen. She began to shift the blame off herself. Began to shift it on Joseph and her husband. And so she brought this Hebrew in here to mock us, this filthy Hebrew who is a slave, and put him over everything just to mock us, because he came in to me to lie with me. And I cried out with a loud voice. Did y'all hear any of that happen earlier? I didn't read that. Did y'all read that when she cried out? Y'all see this lie, how it began to? It says, and it happened when he heard that I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled and went outside. See, that she had it so much together and made herself so ugly and tried to act this thing out that she thought about something else. It says, so she kept his garment with her until his master came home. So you're going to use this as an alibi. Then she spoke to him with these words, like this, saying, the Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came in to me to mock me. So it happened as I lifted my voice and cried out that he left his garment with me and fled outside. Isn't that something? 19th verse, look, it happened when I was thinking the other day. Situation happened. How many know when a storm arises in your life and when it rains? How many know when it rains, it pours? This just was getting worse and worse. 19th verse says, so it was when his master heard the words, it says, which his wife spoke to him, saying, your servant did to me after this manner, that his anger was aroused. Isn't that something? The man that was a violent man that was placed in the area to be the captain over all the bodyguards of Pharaoh, upset. I mean, you got trouble on your hands. I'm going to let you know that regardless of what, right here in just this section right here, but still it never said that in the midst of it that Joseph did anything, that he fled away, that he ran away. How many know he still remained faithful? And we're going to find this out. And I want you to just mark, amen, this verse and the 13th verse through the 19th verse is one thing for you to always remember, that you must be faithful, amen, in spite of your trial. And he had a trial right here, because he had this man that was mighty man of valor, strong soldier, angry with him. And I know his life was about to change. Look at somebody and say, neighbor, regardless of how big the trial, stay faithful. I know some of our biggest trials will come from someone who looks like that person beside you. Let's look at that person beside you. Lots of it don't have to deal with your health. It doesn't have to deal with your finances. But how many know that person right beside you could be your trial? I want you to look at him and tell him, neighbor. Neighbor. Say it like you mean it. Tell him, neighbor. Neighbor. Don't you give me no trouble. Don't you give me no trouble. Give me no trouble. come with somebody that looks like them or look like you too. And a lot of it is because of covetous. Someone being envious. How many know it can cause that? And sometimes we fail to understand the word. Jesus let us know that, we'll be hated because of his name's sake. People won't like you because of the Christ that is in you. Amen? Amen. And just like Potiphar's wife, she wanted Joseph. But Joseph didn't want her. And how many know there are people that not only like she wanted Joseph, but there are people in your life that want to be you. Amen? They want your life. How many know, but they're not willing to do what it takes to have it. But the best thing they can do is give you a hard time. Amen? And that's what she wanted to do. Since she couldn't have him. I've heard that one before in my lifetime. Nobody can have him. Amen? I want you to touch the person beside you and they may be asleep. Tell them, the neighbor, you better wake yourself up. Mess around and fall out of church and die. Up in here asleep in church. Some of us didn't sleep in church and we go to snore. Stay up all night and watch movies. Sleep in church. Wake yourself up. Then I got to come pray for you. Bring you back to life if he will, if it's his will. He might allow you to die on out in church. I said, Pastor, that's all, but that is the truth. God is tired of his people staying up all night, doing what they do, and when it comes to the church, then, oh, I can't take it. All right, now that is handled. Let's move on, amen? It was placed in a situation in regards to what it could be that person in some of our biggest areas, and I've told you this on last week, that a lot of our biggest trials, they come through people. And someone's going to be put to test, so, don't think as it being strange in your life. How many know that we will be tested through these situations or through these people, amen? But in spite of whatever your trial may be, how many know you still got to remain faithful? Amen. Look at somebody and say, stay with God. Stay with God. When it first began to start out, this said, then Joseph's master took him and put him into prison. I mean, no, he had came out of one pit, now moved him into another pit. But how many know, oh, be to God, that will cause us a triumph, amen? I'm so thankful that even in the midst of our tribulations and what we're going through, God will cause us to glory in all of them. He said, even though he was placed in prison, amen, how many know God was still with him because he was with God? It says in a place where the king's prisoners were confined. And he was there in prison. It says, but the Lord was with Joseph, even in prison. It said, and showed him mercy. How many know that was something right there? Because God took, the pain, the trouble, the hardship of being in prison, he took it away from him. Begin to make me think about it, and somehow God began to work. It said, God began to turn his prison into a Peabody. Everybody know the Peabody Hotel? Showed him mercy. It made it seem like he was on vacation. I mean, we serve the same God. Point to somebody and say, you got to stick with him, though. It said he gave him favor in the sight of, favor in the sight of the keeper of prison. Now, in prison, the keeper of prison, he tough. God worked on his heart. It said, and the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners who were in prison. I mean, no, he had the keys. And so I mean, know when God blesses you and he's with you in your life, means you with him. So that means that everybody around you are blessed. So I know Joseph was getting everybody out. Come on out here. It's going to be a fun day today. So in the midst of it, he says, whatever they did there, it was his doing. I mean, there were some good days in prison for them. He said, the keeper of the prison did not look into anything, he said, that was under Joseph's authority. He didn't care. Because the Lord was with him. And he was with the Lord. And whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper. Mark that verse right there, the 20th verse to the 23rd verse, for a reminder for you that you got to be faithful in spite of your tragedies. See, the tragedy was this fact that Joseph, regardless of what God had risen him from the bottom of the pit, took him to the top, but yet he was cast back down. Unlike some of us, and I'm going to say this on today because I've seen this and some of us go through this, it wasn't enough to break him. But some of the things that we go through, it'll break us. Because a lot of time, just imagine being in the house and being put in a position that he was in. And sometimes even in our life, things are going good and well, and we understand who God is, and he's saying how he's going to bless us and keep us and do all good things in our life. And the moment something happens, then we begin to question God. Maybe it could be the death of a mother, a father, or a child. And then that puts us into an area, unlike him, we're not like that at times, and we should be like him. That regardless of any situation, any tragedy, we're still going to serve you, God. Still going to be with you, amen? Whatever I go through, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to stop serving. Let us go through something. We'll stop what? Coming to church. Won't praise him. Refuse to serve him. Unfaithfulness. And how many know that won't get you anywhere? Amen? But how many know, like Joseph, when tragedy hit our life, how many know we got to remain faithful unto God? Amen? Amen? Because if we remain faithful unto God, guess what's going to happen? Guess what he's going to do for us? He's going to bless us, isn't he? And how many know that should be our mindset in our life, that you know what, Lord, I'm going to remain faithful. Not only just, the spiritual things, but we're faithful to you, but I'm going to be faithful to the things in my life. How many know I have that desire, and I want to be faithful to my wife. Amen. Faithful to my children. Amen. Faithful on my job. Faithful to my calling. How many know we must remain to be faithful? Amen. And continue to have that spirit. And in the midst of being faithful, how many know there's benefits and being faithful to God? Amen. Amen. Again, to go through this morning, God took me to Psalms 37 and 28. It says, for the Lord loves the just, and he will not forsake his faithful ones. Amen. Amen. We remain in the Lord. How many know he will make sure that he take care of us at all times? And we must make sure at all times we remain faithful unto God. Amen. Amen. Qualifications of this, that we must often remain, and how you can run a self-check to make sure that you're faithful to God. Make sure that you write this down there. One of the first characteristics that shows me that I'm faithful to God, that I'm going to be loyal to him. Amen? Amen. That I'm not going to forsake to assembling myself together. I'm going to make sure I do all I can to please him and make him happy. Amen? I'm going to love him with all my heart and all my soul and with all my strength. Amen? Amen. Second characteristic, that I'm going to make sure that I submit to the word of God. That shows a sign that I'm faithful, because God, I'm just not going to be a hearer of his word, of your word. I'm going to be a doer. Amen. 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 I'm going to make sure that I do everything that I can. Next characteristic, going to make sure that I don't be, I'm not going to be wavering in the spirit. I'm going to make sure I'm not waver in your, in this lifestyle, in my faith. Going to hold on to it as we've been talking about. Staying steadfast. Regardless of anxieties when they attack me. I'm going to hold on and I'm going to trust you, God. Amen. And another characteristic of a faithful person of God, which we don't like to hear, but I'm going to be a faithful soul. Because I'm going to give. That shows a sign that you're faithful. Because not only you're loyal to God, because you can't be loyal to God without being a giver. Amen. Tithes and offering is nothing to you. And giving and helping, that's nothing to you. You know that's a must. You're going to remain regardless of what. And in these days of time and what's going on, how many know we got to make sure that we be faithful unto God? Amen? Because if you're faithful unto him, he'll be faithful unto you. Amen? Ask somebody sitting beside you, ask a neighbor, are you with God? Tell them this, if you're with God, he's with you. How many want the rewards, amen, of faithfulness in your life? God has no respect of persons. And what he did for Joseph, he'll do it for you too. Amen. We're running around looking for things to happen in our life. Make sure we're faithful unto God. Amen. You hadn't gotten the promotion that you wanted to get, then go back to this. And see that God gave him a promotion. Amen. Took him from the bottom of the pit and brought him and put him in the house of a great man. And he'll do that same for you. Amen. Amen. Look at somebody and say, he'll do it for you too. Stand to your feet on today. Amen. I'm so thankful nobody's sleeping now. Everybody waking right now.